Hello and welcome to Today in the News on Vanguard Live. I am Precious Chukudi. We begin with the front pages of the papers, starting off with Vanguard. Vanguard is leading with fresh strike looms as NLC ultimatum expires today. Rider says NLC leaders meet next week as federal government gets desperate to avert action. And we can also see a photo story showing police exhume MOHBAD'S body, conduct autopsy. And on page 4, poor economy, insecurity, worrisome. And that's coming from Muslim leaders. Again, gunmen murder ASP, inspector in Enugu, police patrol, ambush. You can read that on page 11. Trivia cases like 12 burnt goats were brought to Supreme Court, and that's coming from Justice Orji. You can see that on page 9. Kidnapped core members were making efforts to rescue remaining 5, and that's coming from DG NYSC. Stories above. Tribal apologizes to Obaseki over feud, seeks forgiveness. You can read more on page 10. On page 9, Tinubu to UN, I fought for democracy, determined to prove it can provide development. And last year on the front page of Vanguard, we have Nigeria's trade with Africa up 40% to 1.84 trillion naira. All right, so let's take a look at the Guardian newspaper. The Guardian is leading with paradox of plenty. Big story, pages 4 and 5. Nigeria loses a 1 trillion naira yearly importing active pharmaceutical ingredients. Stories below, we have a MPC meeting postponed as CBN faces leadership vacuum. Ogun lawmaker 6 others nabbed over Shagamu court clash. Despite Tinubu's assurances, US issued travel advisory to citizens. Dangote Modular Refinery abandoned refining over a return of subsidy. And last year on the front page of The Guardian, we have Tinubu files motion to stop Chicago Varsity from releasing academic records to Atiku. All right, moving along, let's take a look at the Nation newspaper. The Nation is leading with Tinubu woos Nigerians in US to invest back home. Rider says overcome setbacks, adopt a new mindset, president advice. And there's a quote that says, I was once a diasporan. What you have been through, I have been through it. Change your mindset is necessary. Nigeria is home for business opportunities. On page 5, India suspends a visa to Canadians. Bazoum asks ECOWAS court to free him. Poland opposes Germany on UN Security Council seat. Stories above. Tribal's office at government's house reallocated. I'm sorry, Deputy Governor begs boss. 22 lawmakers okay move to impeach Ondo Deputy Governor. You can see that on page 25. Bank raises a 13 billion naira for subsidy paying palliatives. And lastly, on the front page of The Nation, we have a Shagamu police arrest Ogun lawmaker. You can see that story on page 25. Let's take a look at the Punch newspaper. The Punch is leading with federal government may pay 1.68 trillion naira fuel subsidy. Marketers forecast 900 naira per liter. Rider says police petrol price to rise again as naira nears 1,000 naira. Crude oil hits $95. Ipman warns. Operators commend government for subsidy proposals. CSO oppose fresh subsidy. And of course, you can see photo story showing people rallying for the candlelight procession at Lekki yesterday. Pathologists conclude autopsy on MOHBAD'S corpse. Police await results. Consumers allege sabotage as grid collapses worsen outage. You can see that on page 17. Court clashes, relocate to Shagamu, Abiodun tells security heads. You can read that on pages 4 and 5. I remain loyal, forgive me, Tribal begs Obaseki. Stories above, academic record, delayed articles request, Tinubu tells US courts. And the writer says the legal team seeks review of ruling, ex-VP's aide alleges cover-up. Lastly, on the front page of the Punch newspaper, currency in circulation rises to 2.7 trillion naira, and that's coming from CBN reports. And that's all we can take on the front pages of the papers. Join me after the break. We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. If you're just joining still today in the news on Vanguard Live, I am Precious Chukudi. Joining me to talk about some of the stories on the front page of the papers this morning is Mr. Olusegun Ebony. He's a public affairs analyst. Good morning, Mr. Olusegun. It's good to have you join me this morning.
Good morning. It's my pleasure to have me here.
All right,
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. All right, let's delve into the stories we have this morning. And of course, NLC's ultimatum to the federal government expires today, and the leadership of the Congress will meet next week to decide when to begin an indefinite strike. And what are your thoughts on NLC and federal government's back and forth? We know obviously that this strike is as a result of the government's proposal to give a palliative as a result of the fuel subsidy removal. What are your thoughts on the back and forth between both of them?
Yeah, I feel, to be sincere, the trouble between NLC and the federal government is long overdue. The federal government has not been sincere enough on their part. But I think the NLC should still continue to negotiate with the federal government because with the constitution of the country right now, an indefinite strike would not be very, very comfortable for the state of the country economically. But I'm just hoping the federal government can come out straight this time around and do something, like we talk about the increase in the minimum wage. And you can't expect people living on 30,000 when things are so on the high. So I'm expecting the federal government to come out clean this time around.
All right. Now, according to available information, we hear that the government's team is working seriously to avert this strike. But the question is, why is it that most times it always has to resort to threat before the government knows what it should do?
And actually, that is why I said in the first time that the federal government seems to be very, very sincere in this part of negotiation. I don't know why it's going to take forever for them to know what to do. They've been on this for almost 3 months or so now. It's been a long while. They've been going up, down, forth, up and down. But to be sincere, if the federal government wants to be sincere to us, there's no reason why it should take forever. That's the problem. By now, they should know what to do. They should have come up with something by now. What are they doing? Before we waited for the inauguration of the ministers. Now the ministers have been working for the past seven weeks precisely. By now, they should have come up with something to highlight the problems, the weight of the removal of subsidy. They should have done something by now. And I stand with the labor unions on this. At least they need to push them to the edge. They have to push the government to the edge so that something can be done as soon as possible.
Now, some people have the opinion that the labor that we have now is not the labor that we had some couple of years ago, where they say what they say and they stand by what they say. Because we've seen the back and forth that's happened thus far between the federal government and labor. What's your take?
Yeah, actually, that is true, because I could remember in those years of labor congress under AUTOPSY, they were so united, and I think the problem started when former President Obasanjo tried to create another union that is giving the TUC a more strong parallel opposition. It's just more like dividing the labor congress then by giving TUC an autonomous congress as well. So now it's not as easy as it used to be before. Now, like, the TUC is a strong member of a labor union. Now they have different heads, they have different bodies together under the labor union. It's becoming a problem. And now it's not becoming them as powerful as they used to be when all of them are labor unions, When all of them are Nigerian Labour Congress, they are stronger, they have this voice, this one voice. But now it seems like their voices are divided. Like the last meeting they had, I am very sure last meeting they said with the federal government, maybe the TUC is not part of the meeting or the Labour Congress is not part of the meeting. Things are just not the same again. To be sincere, things are not the same again with the Labour Congress.
All right, moving on. Let's talk about the late singer MOHBAD. And of course, yesterday we saw that Lagos State Command exhumed his body, and they also said that they had concluded autopsy and were just awaiting results. Also, yesterday, a candlelight procession was held for him, and it degenerated to police, dispersing the crowd with tear gas. I don't know if you saw that. What's your take?
I, I first of all, let me pray for the soul of the young man to rest in peace. We've been through a lot in the past weeks now. It's been an unfortunate situation. And I really appreciate the effort of the government in trying to find the root of the case. I think they've done so well. I've been following the cases as well. I saw the video of how the body the corpse was exhumed from the ground. And but there's something very funny, about the death of this guy. There's so many things that's confusing, Although it is right that people want to know the truth, which it deserves justice. But the fact is this: I just hope we trend softly and ahead of it all. I feel sorry for him. I feel so bad because a lot of things are happening. And at the depth of my mind, the only reason I feel sorry for him is this: the energy, the fusion Nigerians, the celebrities, his colleagues are putting into this strength for justice. If they had done a little of this while he was alive, while he was crying for his life, it would have been a different ball game now. If they had stood up for him when he was trying to pass messages to all of us, after he died, I saw videos, so many videos of him being humiliated, him being scared. But there are people around him. Nobody ever said anything. Nobody cried. Nobody shouted. Why now, after his death? It's unfortunate. It's on a very, very, very unfortunate incident. But I hope he really deserves. But he deserves the justice. He really deserves the justice. I hope he gets it. And the candlelight procession in Lekki, I thought I had a follow up this morning, and there's this OAP guy who was saying after the procession and everything, everything has ended. People should go home. And some people decided to go and get at Lekki toll gate, and the police were trying to disperse them, whatever, and it leads to I think sometimes Nigerians, we take things too out of hand. There is time for this program. When this program ended, people should go home. So I don't see why they gather themselves again at the Lekki toll gate, after the whole event. That's the problem. But I feel the police itself should have used extra forces because they have their right as well to gather anywhere. But it is what it is. This is Nigeria. Sometimes very, very complicated. People make decisions. People act. It's complicated.
What if the police actually acted because of? We've seen what the NSAS looked like, and they acted in that fate because of the thought that this could degenerate into something like that.
Yeah. That's the problem. There's this problem within Nigerians and government. We lack trust. There's no trust between the people and people that represent government. It usually brings this attention of fear and disloyalty. In the first instance, the people who the plan for the procession and protest were reported to the police with a time frame. Are you getting that? There's a time frame for the procession and everything has a time frame followed with the order of the police. Now, when the program goes on and the police were there with them all through the programs. Now, for the fact that the program has ended, some have left, but some decided not to go. Some gathered at the Lekki toll gate. Now, because there is no trust between the masses and the government representative, now it could have been they start thinking about what happened in the NSAS matter, in the NSAS stuff. They try to avoid such things to happen again. I believe it shouldn't have been in the first place if we are in a society. But the fact is, I don't take the fact that with the Nigerians, sometimes we behave irrational. Sometimes we don't get things right almost every time. I don't see anything wrong in people gathering together. But because it is what it is, the police people were trying to attack the same issue that happened for some years back. I think that was about 2 years ago, 2020, right? They're trying to attack such issues again, which is I don't know. Sometimes it's like it gives an headache, when you think about all these things. We're talking about fighting for the right for a right of someone here, then a procession for candlelight for somebody who is just dead. Then at the end of the day, it ends up by police tear gassing people. It's crazy. It's really crazy. It is.
All right, let's move ahead and talk about this. Now, the DG of NYSC has said that they would intensify efforts to secure the safe release of 8 prospective core members kidnapped in Zamfara State en route to the orientation camp in Sokoto. Now, people are of the opinion that students should be posted to their state of origin or in the same state where they schooled. What are your thoughts on that one?
Actually, due to the rise in insecurity, sometimes desperate means calls for desperate measures. Actually, the moment, the enjoyment of you being a U-Corps is like trying to move from a city to another city. It is an ideal before now. But as it stands now, I think it is more fair if you can even choose or decide where you want to serve. Where people can say, I prefer to, if I'm from Southwest, I want to serve in Southwest. It's cool. Yeah, you don't post me to where I don't want to go. Because how many people will afford to let their kids, if not because you post them or you force them. I don't want my child, my sisters, my cousins to go to Safara to do what? When I knew how it's an hot zone. And I disagree with them. They should have even posted people to places where it's not convenient, it's not comfortable. So I think I will go with the idea of posting people to serve in maybe in their region or in their state, or give them options to choose where you want to serve. Maybe that would be better.
Yeah, what is the relevance of NYSC in this dispensation?
Yeah, like I said, in those days, it is even a prayer. It's a pride for you to serve your fatherland. But as it stands today, it's adding no more. It's not adding more value than it used to be. Because how are you serving your like the cops, the coppers that were kidnapped, trying to go? Man, this is funny. It is uncalled for. It is uncalled for. It is uncalled for. If possible for this stuff to be scrapped, maybe let it be so, because you can't keep wasting Nigerian youths in the name of serving their fatherland. You can't be wasting their life, put their life in danger.
All right, let's take a look at Mr. and Mrs. before we go. And Mrs. is speaking this one. He says, of course, I remember the married vows, but I won't let you mess up my hairdo because you're cold. If you're cold, you can always drink hot tea. And Mr. replies, tea in this cold weather. Okay, tell the maid to bring it to the bedroom.
That's funny. When the maid brings to the bedroom, what's going to happen?
That's what Mr. is asking.
Yeah. I hope Madam make sure daddy is not cold. Shouldn't allow the maid to bring the hot tea to the bedroom at all. That's my advice.
All right, thank you, Mr. Olusegun Ebony. He's the public affairs analyst. Thank you for sharing your thought with us this morning.
It's my Yeah, it's my pleasure. You have me here. Thank you. Thank
Also,
you so
remember
much.
that you can equally like, share, and subscribe on all our social media platforms showing on your screen. To find out up-to-date stories, go to our website, www.vanguardngl.com, to find out more. I am Precious Chukudi, and thank you for